Breaking news. The lawyers for the four, three of the four defendants charged for the September 11 attacks have reached a plea deal with the U.S. government. What does this mean? Well, let's talk about the article first. And as you can see, it's now breaking news exclusive. 9/11 mastermind Khalid Shaikh Mohammad and two other terrorists awaiting trial on Guantanamo Bay strike plea deals. Remember, they're all led by different lawyers. So let's read. And I'm going to just blow this up just one more time so that you too can see it, because I don't want you to miss anything. The alleged mastermind of the September 11 terrorist attacks and two other terrorists being held on Guantanamo Bay will be spared the death penalty under a plea deal with prosecutors. It was revealed Wednesday. Now, this is what I feared, and I've said this time and time again. I just said it recently. Um, Me and Ben had a discussion with Bryce Green regarding the Israeli intelligence ring involved with the pre 9/11 operations, intelligence monitoring of hijackers in the FBI and DEA, and also my interview with Al Capratan, who's the lawyer for Amr al-Baluchi, who is not named in this. Just seems a very, very close timing here. The Convening Authority for Military Commissions has entered into pretrial agreements with Khalid Shaikh Mohammad, Walid Mohammed Salam Mubarak bin Attash, also known as Khalid, and Mustafa Ahmed Adnan al-Hassawi, three of the co-accused in the 9/11 case, and Office of Military Commission spokesperson confirmed. And, again, I just want you to blow it up so you can see it for yourself. The terror suspects will be spared the death penalty as part of the plea agreement, according to the OMC, which sent a letter to victims' families Wednesday detailing some of the negotiations. Also, earlier on today, the 9/11 victims' families wanting to hear from Judge George Daniels at the Southern District of New York regarding their case against Saudi Arabia. Maybe, just maybe, Saudi Arabia, someone from the government itself contacted the Biden White House and said, listen, they're going to redact or they're going to declassify some information which won't look good for the CIA and Saudi intelligence. Reach a plea deal. Is that so far out of the fetch? I don't have evidence that this phone call took place, but the timing is off here, folks. It's just too close. I'm not a coincidence theorist. I'm sorry. In exchange for removal of the death penalty as a possible punishment, these three accused have agreed to plead guilty to all the charged offenses, including the murder of 2,976 people listed in the charge sheet, the later obtained by the Post, read in part. The news came as a gut punch for families who have been holding out hope for justice for more than 2 decades. I'm very disappointed. We waited patiently for a long time. I wanted the death penalty. The government had failed us. Daniel DeLara, whose twin brother, John DeLara, was one of 23 NYPD cops killed on the days of the attacks. The Office of Military Commission said the specific terms and conditions of the pretrial agreements were not immediately available. The details are set to be officially announced Thursday, and the guilty plea hearings could take place as soon as next week, with sentencing likely to happen next summer, according to the letters and sources. It was not immediately known when the men will be incarcerated following their plea deals. Allegedly, they're going to serve out the rest of their days in Guantanamo or extradited to Saudi Arabia or Bahrain or the United Arab Emirates, where they will imprison them for the rest of their lives. The defendants accused, including accused plotter Khalid Shaikh Mohammad, started accused of providing training, financial support, and other assistance to the 19 terrorists who hijacked passenger jets and crashed them into the World Trade Center, Pentagon, and a field in Shanksville on September 11, 2001. The three accused who have accepted a plea deal, along with Ali Abdulaziz Ali and Ramzi bin al-Shib. Now, Ali Abdulaziz Ali is Amr al-Baluchi, the nephew of Khalid Shaikh Mohammad, and Ramzi bin al-Shib was declared mentally unfit for trial. They were initially jointly arraigned on June 5, 2008, then again on May 5, 2012, the Department of Defense said in a statement. The Office of Military Commission said it entered into the plea deal negotiations with the suspect's defense counsel back in March of 2022. There was one tentative plea deal that was rejected by the Biden White House. I'm going to get to that in a minute. victims' families were outraged by the news that the death penalty was no longer on the table for the suspects, in which you would think that the prosecution would inform the families about the up-to-date trial hearings, and they didn't do it. They went behind the victims' families' back and just said, we'll take the death penalty. This is the reason why I think Saudi Arabia pressured the U.S. government to push this plea deal and accept it. Because this was done in secret, away from the victims' families, away from the law firms representing them. I feel like I was kicked in the balls, said retired police officer Jim Smith, who's the husband of Moira Smith, the only female police officer who died on September 11th. Prosecution and families have waited 23 years to have our day in court to put on the record what animals did to our loved ones. They took that opportunity away from us, the anguished widower said. They committed the worst crime in the history of our country. They received the death penalty. They deserve it. Retired cop Kathy Vingaro, wife of NYPD Detective Joseph Viganiaro, sorry for the misspelling, who was killed on 9/11, said, I am angry and disappointed that enemy combatants who killed thousands of Americans in our homeland are now able to exploit the U.S. judicial system to their benefit, receiving support from American taxpayers for shelter, food, and health care like the rest of their lives. Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Hendry, who have been inundated with calls from officers' families upon leaning of the plea deal, said it was heartbreaking and infuriating. Khalid Shaikh Mohammad, known to the FBI as KSM, is said to have proposed the idea for the September 11th attacks to Osama bin Laden in 1996. Well, that's not true. This is a mistake. It was 1999. 96 is where the idea came from, the Bajinka plot. The idea for planes to be used as weapons. The Pakistani-born accused of playing a key role in the planning, including training some of the hijackers in Pakistan and Afghanistan. He was captured in Pakistan in March of 2003 and brutally interrogated at secret CIA prisons, including being waterboarded 183 times, which attorneys argue constitute torture and would render any testimony to be given inadmissible. Walid Mohammed bin Salih bin Attash allegedly provided key training to terrorist hijackers, including lessons on hand-to-hand combat, as well as conducted meticulous research into airline timetables, in which there was one regarding a travel to Bangkok with Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi after a meeting in Malaysia regarding talking about the USS Cole bombing attack and the plane's operation, where Khalid, Walid Mohammed Salah Mubarak bin Attash, had basically traveled with al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi on a connecting flight from Bangkok to Malaysia. And he got off at Bangkok and went back to Malaysia. Al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi came to the United States. Thank you, NSA, CIA. Thank you, Israel, Saudi Arabia. You all knew about it. Born in Saudi Arabia, bin Attash lost part of his right leg fighting the Northern Alliance in Afghanistan, where he joined the jihad at age 14. Mustafa Ahmed Adnan al-Hawsawi is a citizen of Saudi Arabia, charged with helping hijackers through their travel arrangements and finances. He was captured in Pakistan along with Khalid Shaikh Mohammad on March 1st, 2003. Soon after the news broke of the plea deal, the White House issued a statement to a National Security Council official distancing itself from the agreement. Okay, then I'm wrong. This plea deal has already happened. It doesn't need to be rejected or approved by the Biden White House, like the last plea deal. I'm going to get into that in a minute. That's what I thought. I've been telling other people that Biden didn't approve or reject it. So this plea deal is a done deal. A fucking disaster. Just a fucking disaster. You know, and I just interviewed Al Caprata and the lawyer for Amr al-Baluchi. We talked about this. And this was my fear, that they were going to accept the plea deal. I just said this Sunday that they were going to accept the plea deal. And the reason why I'm so pissed off is because the U.S. government, whatever information, evidence that they have, and more importantly, what they didn't have, won't be known until 30, 40 years when information is declassified. Fuck. Last year in September, Biden rejected proposed conditions for plea deals for 9/11 defendants. U.S. President Joe Biden rejected proposed conditions for a plea deal for 5 Guantanamo Bay detainees accused of aiding in the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, according to a spokesman for the White House and the Security Council. Look, ladies and gentlemen, you know, you can't, you really can't tell me that the victims' families, who were, a lot of them were in the Southern District of New York today, didn't have a direct effect with the Saudi government, who most likely reached the Biden White House and said, push this deal to go through and let the prosecution accept it. Because if the information gets out that the CIA and Saudi Arabia were running a legal operation, by the way, that information's already out. If it gets out through the information that we have to release, it looks bad on both of us. And with the State Department covering for Saudi Arabia on top of it, this is the reason why this is going through. I'm convinced of it. Absolutely convinced. And like I said, the worst part of this is now we won't know what the government had or didn't have until 30, 40 years when you go through the National Archives, if we're still a fucking functioning country anymore. Someone files a FOIA and wants the information declassified about what the U.S. prosecution had. We needed the trial to happen in order to see the evidence that the prosecution have. Now we can't. And with the Gerald Shea memorandum all but ignored, Operation with the Canistrail document ignored, with the latest Operation Encore files ignored. This is the reason why nobody knows what's going on. This is the reason why 9/11 Truth Movement hasn't been able to badger the public about these documents, because they basically don't believe in hijackers or hijacked planes. We're a fucked country. Thanks a lot. You guys really did the job. Thanks for covering the latest. Thank you, all media. When I tried to push the Canistrail document, when I tried to push Operation Encore, unbelievable conspiracies. Names to be added: the director of the CIA, the director of operations. How about I'm trying to push for attention for the largest foreign intelligence service ever operating on U.S. soil in Israel? What the fuck did they find out regarding living nearby all of the hijackers in the years 2000, 2001? What about Able Danger Program, led by former Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer? Nobody talks about it. The whistleblowers like Schaefer, the whistleblowers like Mark Rossini, and Colleen Rowley, and Ken Williams, who tried to warn Americans and tried to warn their superiors in the State Department about terrorists wanting to hijack airplanes and crash them all over the intercontinental United States. All this was ignored because you rather believe loose change. You rather believe Alex Jones. You rather say that the entire federal government is corrupt. It's not. There are some people within the Department of Justice I just named that are very good people and sacrifice their reputation, even their freedom. John Kiriakou blew the whistle on torture, which was public information, and the CIA condemned him. Well, now we're here. Since the 9/11 Truth Movement wasn't effective and the rest of the public wasn't getting the information from the legacy media, we became an ignorant nation. This is the reason why this court came to a decision about reaching a plea deal, the Office of Military Commissions. I blame all media. I blame the legacy media, but I don't blame the victims of Alex Jones and Jason Bermas, Christopher Bolin, and Rebecca Roth, and Richard Gage. I don't blame them. I blame those people for lying, for spreading stupid gossip and stupid conspiracy theories that doesn't make sense when you had a whole load of conspiracy theories relating to 9/11 and hijackers, but because you're so stupid, you would rather push the no planes, no hijackers. Thank you for absolving the CIA and the Israelis, Saudis, and the NSA. This is the reason why I'm fucking frustrated. And who suffers the worst? The 9/11 victims' families. Justice? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, I'm not going to stop. And I'm going to keep reporting as is. And whatever information that comes out in the next hour, maybe day or week, you'll hear it from me first, or from the Florida Bulldog, or from DJ Thermal Detonator, or Sean Russell, Darren Harvey, or the kids at PNAC, or Leonardo Salvaggio, or Jonathan Bellasort. Some really good 9/11 experts here, guys. We're not giving up yet. So stay tuned, stay safe, and see you in the next video, everybody.